The day Gloria Kensington called the cops because I dared to fence off my own backyard was the day the entire neighborhood learned that community standards were really just code for whatever Gloria wants. I'm Ryan Kessler. I moved to Willow Creek Lakeside 3 years ago after 25 years in county zoning. Thinking I'd finally enjoy quiet mornings by the water instead of fighting developers and bureaucrats. Instead, I got America's most entitled HOA president in pastel capris. Before I'd even finished unpacking, Gloria had already started the whisper campaign. The new guy's a bitter divorce, she told anyone who'd listen at the mailbox cluster. Skip the welcome potluck, clearly doesn't care about fitting in. Probably one of those types who thinks rules don't apply to him. The rumors spread like cheap fertilizer. I was antisocial. I was hoarding the best lake views. I was a threat to property values. Neighbors gave me polite but wary smiles. I heard every word. I just smiled back, nodded, and kept my mouth shut. Watching. Learning. Because after 2 decades of dealing with people who abuse power while quoting regulations, I knew exactly how this game worked. My corner lot came with a narrow strip of land that ran straight from the street to the community dock. The original developer had never recorded an easement. It was just a worn dirt path that a few board members, including Gloria, had quietly turned into their personal shortcut. Every single morning at 7:15 sharp, she'd power walk right through my grass in her matching Lululemon and HOA visor, AirPods blasting, like my yard was a public park. Sometimes she'd even wave. Morning, neighbor. Keeping the community connected. The first time I asked her nicely to use the public trail like everyone else, she laughed in my face. Ryan. Sweetheart. This is how we've always done it. It's for the greater good. Don't be that guy. I let it go for a couple weeks. Then I installed a simple cedar fence with a gate and a very clear private property, no trespassing sign. That's when the mask started to slip. 2 days later, a sheriff's deputy rolled up while I was watering tomatoes. He looked embarrassed before he even got out of the cruiser. Mr. Kessler? Got a complaint about you blocking community access to the lake. I wiped my hands on my jeans and laughed. You mean my own backyard? He checked the survey pins, radioed in, and shook his head. Yeah. This is your property. Lady was pretty insistent though. Said you were being aggressive. I pointed at the shiny new fence. Officer. I've been nothing but polite. She's been walking through here like she pays my mortgage. He left with a shrug and a good luck. Man. But Gloria wasn't done. 3 days later I got the official violation notice in the mail, $750 fine for unauthorized fencing and disrupting neighborhood harmony. No hearing. No discussion. Just pay up or face leans. That's when I stopped being polite. See? I didn't just retire from zoning, I lived it. I knew every trick. Every loophole. Every fake covenant people like Gloria hide behind. I spent the next week in my home office pulling original plats, HOA bylaws, county records, and the master deed. Surprise, no easement existed. The path was a long-standing courtesy, not a legal right. The bylaws actually required board approval for any community access modifications, which Gloria had conveniently never bothered to get. I filed a formal dispute and requested a full board hearing. Gloria denied it twice and tacked on another $500 fine. That's when I decided to stop playing defense. If they wanted to treat my land like public property, I'd make it official, on my terms. With help from a buddy who still practices land use law. I filed paperwork with the county to designate a limited private access route. After some creative but completely legal wording, It got approved as a permitted access management feature. A month later, I installed a sleek keypad gate with a small electronic reader. The sign above it, in professional lettering, read: Private access shortcut, $7 per use. All proceeds donated to Willow Creek Youth Programs. County approved, no exceptions. I sat on my porch the next morning with coffee and front row seats. Gloria arrived in her golf cart like she was leading a military invasion. She stomped up to the gate in her little red HOA polo, jabbed at the keypad like it had personally insulted her ancestors, then started yelling when it wouldn't budge. This is outrageous. This is illegal obstruction of community rights. Her voice cracked with pure entitlement. I didn't even stand up. Morning, Gloria. Pay the access fee or take the public trail. It's literally 90 seconds longer. The money goes to kids' sports, thought you'd approve. Her face turned the exact shade of her polo. You're monetizing residential property. This is against every HOA rule we have. Actually, I said calmly, holding up the framed county approval. It's not. But feel free to file another complaint. I've got the paperwork right here. She stormed off muttering about lawyers and people like you. By the end of the week, the gate had collected $63, mostly from amused teenagers on bikes who thought the whole thing was hilarious. I donated every cent publicly to the Youth Baseball League and posted the receipt on the neighborhood app. Gloria's next move was predictable, a cease and desist from her cousin's law firm claiming I was running an illegal business. The letter was so poorly researched it was almost cute. They cited zoning language that had been amended years ago, amendments I had helped write back in my county days. Instead of replying to her lawyer, I scheduled a public zoning clarification meeting with the county and made sure every resident got a flyer. I even sprang for coffee and donuts. The room was standing room only. Gloria showed up late, clearly rattled by the turnout. When the zoning officer confirmed my gate was 100% legal and the path had never been public easement, the room erupted in murmurs. A few people actually clapped. Gloria's smile looked stapled on. I think we all just want what's best for the community, she said in her sweetest, most condescending tone. I stood up. Funny. So do I. That's why I'm donating the access fees to local kids instead of letting the HOA keep fining people for faded welcome mats. The meeting ended with Gloria cornered and the county officially noting that no easement existed. I thought that might be the end. It wasn't. 3 nights later, my security cameras caught everything in crystal 4K. At 2:41 a.m., a figure in a dark hoodie crept across my lawn carrying bolt cutters. The limp in the left knee was unmistakable. Gloria had mentioned her old tennis injury in at least 4 different HOA newsletters. She spent 12 minutes mangling the keypad and ripping down the sign before disappearing into the dark. I didn't call the sheriff right away. I waited until the next board meeting. When I played the footage on the big screen in the clubhouse, the room went dead silent. Gloria's face cycled through every shade of panic: red, white, then a sickly green. That's been edited, she shrieked. This is character assassination. A retired detective in the back row snorted. Ma'am, the timestamp in your distinctive walk say otherwise. The board was forced to open a formal investigation. Gloria tried to rally support with more whispers. Ryan's been targeting me from day one because I called out his antisocial behavior, but the damage was done. Residents who had been afraid to speak up for years started coming forward with their own stories of ridiculous fines and bullying. Then the real bomb dropped. While the new interim board reviewed financials, they noticed something strange: thousands of dollars paid to Kensington Community Solutions for special compliance consulting and vendor oversight services. Services that no one could remember receiving. The company was registered to Gloria's sister-in-law, but the checks had been signed off by Gloria herself. I quietly handed over the records I'd already pulled. The county prosecutor moved fast. Turns out Gloria had been skimming for nearly 3 years, nearly $47,000 in inflated or completely fake invoices. The consulting was just a way to funnel HOA dues into her family's pockets while she lectured everyone else about protecting property values. The arrest happened on a sunny Tuesday morning. Gloria was let out of her McMansion in yoga pants and handcuffs while neighbors filmed from their driveways. The local paper ran the mugshot with the headline, "HOA President Accused of Embezzling Funds After Backyard Feud." The recall vote was unanimous. Gloria was removed from the board and banned from ever serving again. 2 other members who had signed off on the fake payments quietly resigned. The new board, led by a no-nonsense elementary school principal, immediately passed reforms: mandatory independent audits, term limits, transparent bidding, and an actual appeals process for fines. I kept the gate, but removed the payment system. Now it just says private property, access by permission only. Kids still knock and ask politely. I always say yes. The neighborhood feels different now. Lighter. People actually talk to each other instead of reporting each other. Someone finally painted their front door a cheerful yellow without getting fined. Another family installed solar panels. No one walks through my tomatoes anymore. And me? I finally got around to restoring that old wooden boat I bought when I moved in. Some mornings I sit on the dock, coffee in hand, and watch the sun come up over the water. No power walking HOA president in sight. Funny how protecting what's yours can end up giving everyone else their neighborhood back. So here's the question I want you to answer honestly in the comments: was I wrong for putting up a fence on my own legally owned property? Or was the real villain the woman who spent years bullying neighbors, spreading rumors, and stealing from the very community she claimed to protect? Who was actually violating community standards? Drop your verdict below. I read every single one.